Yeah. So yesterday we have worked on assets and liabilities scenario. So we created grid layouts for assets and liabilities. Okay. So now, so we need to calculate some of the assets and some of the liabilities automatically. Let's say I am going to execute equity. So we have assets and liabilities screen in this flow, right? So we created and we included assets and liabilities screen in all the flows. Okay, so assets and liabilities. So a user can select multiple assets and multiple liabilities. Okay, so here we need to show the sum of asset value and sum of liability value. Okay, so here we have two properties. So one is asset total and another is liability total. So which are available under which page? Open the borrower. So here we have two properties, asset total and liability total. So these two properties we'll be using on this screen, this section, right? So go to the assets and liabilities section. So you need to note down parallelly. Okay. So here I am going to use one more dynamic layout for displaying total assets and total liabilities. So make it inline grid double. And total assets. So total asset property is available under borrower, right? So borrower dot asset total. Next, borrower dot liability total. Save it. So guys, you need to join on time. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes, right? Okay, so now just refresh this. Okay, so we have the properties asset total, liability total. So the sum of assets should be displayed here and sum of liabilities automatically. Okay, clear? So this is our requirement. So before we are going to implement this, so far, so we have worked on many rules, right? Suppose let's say we created activity. So in order to make it executable, so what we need to do? So we created one activity called test activity. So in order to make it executable, what we need to do?
We need to call it from flow action.
Exactly.
Call
So
it.
we need to invoke somewhere. Okay.
Yes.
So if it is activity, either you need to invoke from control or from flow action or from by using the utility set in some other places also. Okay. So these are called procedure rules. Either you create a flow action or section or flow or activity or data transform. So you need to invoke somewhere in order to make it executable, right? So these are called procedural rules. So similarly, so we have declarative rules available in PRPC. Declarative rules. So these are not procedural rules. Okay, these are called declarative rules, and we don't need to invoke explicitly like procedural rules. Okay, so you create a declarative rule and leave it. So you don't need to invoke somewhere in order to make it executable. Okay, so here, so we have different types of declarative rules available. So one is declare expression. Note down this. So declare expression is an instance of the class rule declare expression. Next, declare constraints. This is an instance of the class rule declare constraint. Declare on change. It is an instance of the class rule declare on change. Declare trigger is an instance of the class rule declare trigger. Next, declare index is an instance of the class rule declare index. So this is semi-declarative rule. And available under sysadmin category. So remaining all rules are available under decision category. Okay, so the only declare index will be available under sysadmin category. Okay, so first we will work on declare expression. Okay, so let's say for example, so you need to calculate the total based on the quantity into price. Okay, let's say quantity is 10 and price is 100. How much? 1000, right? So if you change price to 1000, how much? So automatically the target property should be updated. So whenever the input value changes, the target property gets updated automatically. So this is called declare expression. Okay, so put heading declare expression, and definition is, so whenever input value changes, automatically the target property gets updated. So here in this expression, so total is a target property and quantity and price are input properties. So if you change quantity to 5, it should be 5000. So immediately it has to be updated. Okay, so whenever input values changes, automatically the target property gets updated. Okay, so here you see, so here what is the target property and what is the input properties for asset total. So whenever you add assets, automatically this target property should be updated. So asset total and liability total are target properties, and what are the input properties?
Asset value and liability values.
Asset value and liability value, not type, right? So we don't need to consider this. Okay, we are calculating the sum of asset and sum of liability. Okay, so now So we can write declare expression on target properties. Okay. So there are two ways of creating declare expression. Either directly you can create from target property, or else go to the decision and create from here. Where is expression? Yeah. Yes, this is expression, right? Yeah. So either you can create from here or else from directly target property. Okay. So first we will create from target property directly from this asset total property, and for liability we will create from decision category. Okay. So go to the asset total property where it is available on borrower, right? So right click on the target property called asset total and click on define expression. Okay. See here, so if you create from property, automatically the page context will be displayed. So page, that means the asset total property is available on this page. So label calculate asset total. Okay. Create and open. Okay. So asset total is equivalent to sum of assets dot asset value. Okay. It is a sum of asset value. See here. So here you have different options, right? So the value of the sum of minimum of maximum of, like that. So you can call decision rules here. So that we'll be discussing in the coming classes. So now we are going to calculate the sum of total assets, right? So you here select the sum of. So page context is borrower, right? So you will have all the properties which are available under borrower. Assets. So when you select sum of, you have to use the page list, right? Assets is a page list property. Asset value, you need to type it. So it will not come automatically. So if you put like this, put space assets, select sum of assets dot asset value. Okay. So in the bracket you should not put 1 or 2. Okay, you have to put open brace and close brace. So if you put 1, it will take only the first record value. Okay. So here you need to take all the values of your assets. Clear? Okay. So now let's test this. Let's refresh. So first let me remove all these records. So we don't have any assets, right? So now let me add one asset. Let's say 10,000. See, automatically getting updated, right? So if we add one more asset type, let's say 20,000, how much? So immediately it will be updated to 30,000. So if we remove this first record, how much it should be? 20,000. So we have created this, declare expression rule on target property, and we haven't invoked anywhere. Okay. Now similarly, so we need to create declare expression on which property? Liability total, right? So either you can create directly from target property or go to the decision expression, and here you need to use page context. So borrower. What is the target property? Liability total. Label, you put calculate total liabilities. Same sum of liabilities dot liability value. Spelling mistake. Liability value. Okay. So now the same way you create. So now go to the flow and test it. Refresh this work object screen. Yeah. So this asset property type is decimal, right? So that is the reason, or getting like this. That we need to do. We need to convert by using the function. Okay. So now let's say we are adding this liability value. Okay. So automatically this is getting updated. So this is called declare expression. So whenever the value changes, automatically the target property gets updated. Clear? Online guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next. Sorry? Yeah. So we can take a number of properties. Those will be input properties. Let's say, so already I told you example, right? So this is expression. So in this expression, you may have different properties as input properties. Let's say quantity into price, by 100 plus something like that. Okay. So any one of the input property changes, the target property gets updated. That is default behavior. So this is called forward chaining. So the declare expressions support two types of chaining. So one is forward chaining and another is backward chaining, that we will be discussing in the coming classes. Okay. So now let's work on declare constraint. Okay. So declare constraint do not deviate from the desired range for a specific property. Declare constraint do not deviate from the desired range for a specific property. That means, so we have a loan amount property in our application, right? So the requirement is loan amount should not be exceeded 50 lakhs. Okay, so that is our requirement. So if user is going to enter more than that, let's say more than 50 lakhs, so it will display a message saying that loan amount should not be exceeded 50 lakhs. Okay, so that means the range should be less than or equivalent to 50 lakhs. If user is going to deviate from that value, it is going to be displayed a message. Okay, so we'll do that now. So we have a amount property that is called loan amount. So where it is available? So we have included that in all the screens, right? As part of second screen. So this is loan amount. It should not be exceeded 50 lakhs. Okay. So let's create a constraint for this requirement. The requirement you noted down. Okay. So create a constraint rule. Create a declare constraint rule on loan amount property. Okay. And so here loan amount should not exceed 50 lakhs. So that loan amount should not exceed 50 lakhs. Okay. So constraint rule is available under decision category, right? So go to the decision constraints. What is the label we can put? Validate loan amount. When? So when we need to display that message? Yes, right? When loan info dot amount. So amount property is there in loan info page, right? So loan info dot amount is greater than 50 lakhs. 50 lakhs, right? Yeah. So what is our requirement actually? What is our requirement? It should be always less than or equivalent to 50 lakhs. It is our requirement. Else, loan amount must be less than or equal to 50 lakhs. So where we need to display this message? On which property? Loan info dot amount. Clear? So now you tell me, so where we need to invoke this constraint rule? Hari? Where we need to invoke?
On loan amount property before going to calculate sum of loan amount.
Okay. So before that, you think about, so what is a declarative rule? What is the difference between procedural and declarative? Yes, we don't need to invoke anywhere, right? So we don't need to call explicitly. Okay, now, so we created this rule. So whenever this property value changes, this is going to be executed. So we don't need to invoke anywhere because it is a declarative rule. Okay. So now here we need to do some refresh condition. Okay, so go to the amount, the screen, go to the section, so it is there in 0 1, right? Let me save as it into 0 2. Could you please put on mute? See here, so you just need to create an action set. So event is changed, so whenever the value changes, section has to be refreshed. That's it. So you don't need to call that rule, just you need to create an action set to refresh the value. So now if I enter 55 lakhs, what should happen? So we need to refresh. Okay, first refresh the work object form and let's test, or you re-execute the flow. 51 lakhs. What happened? Loan amount must be less than or equivalent to 50 lakhs. So if you are going to enter less than that, it will not display message. If it is exceeds, then only it will display message. Clear? So and it is not advancing the flow until unless you rectify this, right? So always you should enter less than or equivalent to 50 lakhs. Hmm? Yeah. So whenever the value changes, it has to be refreshed. Then only this message will be displayed. Just go to the property, corresponding property called amount. Go to the actions. Event is change whenever the value changes. So we have different events, right? So we have click, double click, over like that. Okay. Action is it has to be refreshed. Okay. So if you want to execute an activity while refreshing, you can do that. Okay. Now clear so far or any doubts? The
Got
change,
it.
the value changes, the property value changes. Okay. So now in the mortgage and equity we have three screens, right? So one is borrower details, another is collect loan details, and assets and liabilities. We don't have screen related to mortgage or equity. Okay. So now we'll be creating a one section called collect mortgage or equity information that we'll be using for both mortgage and equity. Okay. So if you want to make it available for both mortgage and equity, so where we need to create? Yeah, we need to create under home loan class. Create user interface section. Collect mortgage or equity info. Okay. So for always, so we have a home in mind radio button property, right? Okay. Uh, yeah. So for equity, it should be, do you have a home in mind is yes. For mortgage, it will be no, because mortgage means the borrower doesn't have a home and is going to purchase new home. Okay. So here you see this screen. Okay. So do we have a home in mind? If it is yes, we need to display the property information like address details. Okay. Otherwise, we need to display the purchase information. Clear? So for equity, always it should be yes. For mortgage, it will be no. Okay. So now, so use the property. Do we have a home in mind property, right? So you use that, change the label. So we have a that property home in mind. In the home loan class, right? So it will be a radio button. So we need to use the control radio button and invoke the property called home in mind. So here we need to provide some values in the local list, right? Yes or no. That means user is going to select yes or no. What happened? So we need to refresh it. Okay, yeah. So you change the label home in mind to do you have a home. So by default you will have label as same as property. Change it to do you have a home. Okay. So if it is yes, we need to display the property info. So use one layout for property information and another layout is for purchase information. Okay. So put layout heading, display header and title. It is property information. Next, so this layout heading is purchase information. Clear? So in the purchase information, so we need to use the properties like down payment, asking price, and we have a loan amount, right? So use all these properties here. So where we have these properties, down payment, asking price, on which page? Loan info, right? Use text input. So make it inline grid double. It is asking price, that is total value of the home. Next, down payment, how much borrower is going to pay initially. Next, loan amount, how much, so borrower is taking loan amount, right? Clear? So now, so here we need to display property information, right? So that is dependent on a property. So we'll be using one property called use current address. Okay. So if user select use current address as yes, we need to copy from borrower screen. So in the first screen we have address details, right? Permanent address and current address. So from there we need to copy. So that you can do. Okay. So create a one property called use current address property, like this property. Okay. And select the control as radio button and provide yes or no values. If user select use current address as yes, you need to copy address details from borrower to here. Okay. So let's create use current address property under home loan class. Clear? Use current address. So this is a radio button. Provide the values in the local list, either yes or no. So come back to the screen. So here use the property. What is the property? Use current address. Okay. So this requirement you can do. So create a one page property called current address under home loan class. And while creating that page, you refer to the data class. So we have a address details data class, right? So that you can give as a page definition. Okay. And so by using the data transform, you can copy from borrower details to these properties when user select use current address as yes. If it is no, you have to make these properties editable and you need to allow user to enter the data. Okay. So if you make it editable so that user can enter the data. So if you select use current address as yes, you need to copy from borrower current details. Borrower's current address details to here. Okay. That you can do by using the data transfer. So now, so based on this value, we need to display the layout. So if user select do we have a home, yes, we need to display this property information layout. Okay. So we can put visibility condition here. So far, we created a when role and we invoked, right? So now based on the expression also you can make it visible. So what is the property? See here, so we are making this layout visible based on this property. What is the property? Home in mind. Okay. So go to the layout, visibility based on the condition, and home in mind is equivalent to yes. Take same and put here. Here we need to select yes or no. No, right? If it is no, we need to display this purchase information. Okay, we need to put in quotes. Now go to this layout, put this value in double quote. This string, right? So you need to specify in quotes. So now, so whenever user select this, that means user is going to click on this radio button. So the section has to be refreshed so that the changes will be appeared. So we need to create an action set for home in mind property. Go to the actions. Whenever event is clicked, whenever user click on this radio button, the section has to be refreshed. Okay. Submit it. So now we can test this screen here itself. Go to the preview. So do we have a home? Yes. If it is yes, display property information. If it is no, the purchase information is getting displayed. Okay. Now create a flow action for this and invoke that flow action in mortgage and equity. So go to the home loan class, process, flow action. Flow action name is collect mortgage or equity info. Create and invoke the section. Okay. Next, go to the mortgage flow and add the screen in between collect loan details and collect assets and liabilities. Check out. Add assignment shape. Okay, here call the flow action. And save it. Okay, next go to the equity flow and add the screen in between loan and assets details. So take this, connector and here you need to invoke the flow action. It is equity, right? Collect equity info, you can put like this. Clear? Okay. So we'll continue tomorrow. So you practice this. Okay, you need to practice all the scenarios so far. So we can wrap up for the day. So we'll continue tomorrow.